This video is going to be a quick tour of settings in Drupal. Um, and the interesting thing about settings is that they can apply to pages or they can apply to what are called nodes of content on a page. So you can see here I'm logged in and I have a contents tab and a settings tab. And this is about the settings of the page. We looked at this to add a subpage, but let's dig in a little bit more on that. So if I click settings, there are a couple of useful things under here. One that you may or may not ever use is copy move, but just be aware that it exists. And basically what this allows you to do is to make a copy of your page, a whole separate copy of it, with its contents and put it somewhere else in the website. You can also decide to move your page somewhere else. That's really helpful when, for example, if I wanted to move Child of Bob up to the same level as Bob, I could actually do that by using the copy move feature. Let me show you that because I think that one gets used more than copy. So I'm going to click copy move. I'm going to choose to move the page. I'm going to choose to move the page and everything on it, under it, etc. So it shows me where it is right now. All I do is click choose, and I'm going to go up a level to put it on the same level as the other pages. I click select, and it shows me it's going to be now underneath the page that's called test. I can give it a new name if I choose to. I'll just say moved at the end just so you can see it, and click go. Takes a second, and sure enough, here it is. Now it's on the same level as Bob. That's kind of cool. Also in the settings, I showed you before, a really useful thing under here is menu and layout, where this guy right now is not shown in the menu, meaning I have to be logged in to see it. I'm going to uncheck that so it now would be visible in the menu. Also on settings for a page is the meta description for this page, and it defaults to sort of one of these upper level descriptions. If you have particular content on your page that you would like picked up by a search engine, you can modify this meta description and make it a nice sentence that describes sort of what the page is. You can see this is pretty long. And why it's important. And the keywords that you use here in the keywords field and in the description field both show to the search engine, and the search engine will use this to promote your page in different ways. So this is kind of important to do. So I would definitely do this. So I'm going to click Save Settings. And you can see that this now popped up to the very top here. In my pages that are actually visible under the menu versus the pages that are not visible, that are hidden from the menu. So if I want to reorder this menu, right here in settings for this page, this top page, test, I can reorder the menu underneath by going to settings for this page and reorder menu. And from here, I can drag and drop to reorder this as I like, and then save the configuration. Pretty nifty. Let me go back to my little test page here that I created. So those are, and again, I can reorder things on this page as well. If for some reason I didn't want the slider to be at the top, I mean the carousel at the top, I could move it if I choose to. I like it the way it is. I'm going to leave this. But you can move things around if you have multiple nodes on your page. So let me go back to View, and let's just take a quick look at the settings of a node of content on a page versus the page itself. So here's the world's tiniest little bit of content here in a basic page. The title, which is set not to appear to folks. And again, if I scroll down, there are interesting things under here about this little piece of content. One of the things that is super useful is this publishing item. So if I didn't want folks to see this, all I would have to do is click published and uncheck it so that now it's not published. Only people who are logged in and looking at this page would be able to see it. In other words, content editors. So I'm going to unpublish that just to show you what it looks like. Another useful thing is that if you have a piece of content that you know always should be at the top, you can choose sticky at top of page, which means that it is always going to be at the top even after you edit it. Other things, it will not take precedence. This one will always appear at the top. So I'm going to choose that for the heck of it. And the last useful thing under here, I believe, is this guy, which we don't use all that often, but when you need to use it, it is wonderful. It's pages, and basically what it says is which pages should this piece of content appear on. So you can have one piece of content that appears on multiple pages. So it's sitting on this Child of Bob page, but I could also add it to Bob if I wanted to. Just click select, and now you can see it's on both of these guys. And I can also remove it from one of these pages. The beauty of this means that I have one piece of content, I update it in one place, it gets updated in both places. Very handy. Okay, so just to show you what happened here, here's that little piece of content. The background has turned this sort of creamy color, and it says right at the top, this piece of content is not yet published. It can only be seen by people who can edit it. In other words, people who are logged in and looking at it. It's also sticky at the top of the page. It rose to the top of the page. So that is a quick tour of the useful things about settings on pages, and then sort of the settings that you can also place on nodes, or things that you can do to little nodes of content on the page. And that's that.